Matter of fact, hold that. And
Number one, baby. And number one. Let's go. Back up top. Back where I deserve to be. Back at number one. That's right. I'm coming for that championship. Championship number 2. I'm going back to back. Welcome in, everybody. We are looking into week 6. We are already 5 weeks in. I'm going to go over some power rankings. I'm going to combine power rankings and some comparisons. I got a comparison for all of you guys and lady. And then instead of like going like deep dive into each team, I think it would be better if maybe I did like a team highlight. So I want to highlight one team every week and then really dive into it. You'll find out which team I'm going to dive into. If you deserve to be trash talk, I'm going to trash talk you. If a team's good, I'm going to give credit where credit is due. And I'll give you a sneak peek. This team is good. This team is good. It's not mine, but this team is good that we're going to highlight. And then we're also going to look, it's a little premature, but we're going to look into playoffs. So, and chance, like what are statistical chances? We've kind of gone over this a little bit in the past, but just highlighted over again for some of the new people, maybe some of you that don't watch all of my videos, some of you that don't watch the whole videos. That's another thing. So I kind of talked about it. Definitely think I'm going a little overboard on the timeline on my recording. So we're going to try to keep it within 20 minutes every week. That way I'm not overwhelming myself. Not to say that I'm like overwhelming myself, but it's just a lot of time to commit. A full hour and then prepping and trying to get like a full hour's worth of talking in. I mean, I can ramble on, but I'm going to try to change my format up a little bit. That way we can kind of, some of you pea brains who can't have, that don't have the attention span to watch a full hour of me rambling on. We're going to kind of cut it short. I was looking at some of the YouTube videos, and the average watcher is like 14 minutes, I think. And so we're going to try to keep it like a little bit above that for some of you guys that actually do watch. I do appreciate it. Appreciate the love on the text messages. I will work on, so Wednesdays I work from home. I haven't really been lately. It's been like super busy, but things, knock on wood, have been kind of calming down. So I work from home on Wednesdays. So I probably shouldn't be doing this, but I'm gonna be doing podcasts during the day while I'm supposed to be working. So if this video just pauses all of a sudden and it cuts out, it's me taking a call. Just a heads up. But let's dive into it, huh? All right, let me share screen. Whoa. Whoops. Easy there. All right. I think that's, yeah. We're good. All right. Boom. Look at that. Number one. But all right. I'm gonna be for real. We're all playing for number 2 here. Like, this is a race for second place. Like, unless something tragic happens, knock on wood, we never hope for any kind of injuries. Unless something bad happens, like, we are all playing for number 2 here. We know what team is number 1. We'll get in that a little bit. This last week, we had some good matchups, a lot of high scoring. We had frickin' Paul go off. A close game between Mr. Slappy Poppy and Whitney. Whitney getting a much deserved win. A lot of like I said, a lot of high scoring. There was only 2 teams under 110, which is kind of crazy. I think week 1 we had almost everybody was under 110, besides with the exception of a few teams. So, or in that 110 range. So I think offenses are starting to figure some things out. You've got injuries that are coming into play, so new pieces that are being plugged in. I think there's a lot of different factors going into this. Um, yeah, definitely slow start to the season for fantasy football for offenses, but seems like things are starting to turn around. And what we haven't talked about it, but a lot of injuries have happened. Unfortunately, Eric has had a big hit with Malik Neighbors that hurts me and a few other leagues. I'm not very happy about that. Tyreek Hill getting hurt. I think we kind of talked about Joe Burrow getting hurt, and that affects a bunch. That affects a whole bunch of people. But now they got a veteran in Joe Flacco, so maybe that team turns around. I don't know. I'm not convinced because he's a tree and the guy does not move, and the offensive line is still crap. So I don't see anything changing too much. Like I don't think Jake Browning is incompetent. He's shown that he can do decent things given some kind of protection. So I don't know. That'll be interesting to see. We've had some injuries now at running back, Omarion Hampton. Um, yeah. Who else? Najee Harris. I don't think I've gotten a chance to mention that. Antonio Gibson, which he's not like a bona fide starter, but it affects Henderson, who's on my team, and Stevenson, and so a lot of injuries popping up. And injuries suck. Oh, the Cardinals' backfield is completely decimated. That's kind of rough. Um, yeah, a lot of injuries popping up, but this is why it's important to draft depth. This is why it's important to keep track of the waiver wire. I mean, even if you're 1-4, Jason, like there's still chance. There's still a chance out there. There's opportunities. Um, you can start trading. I've got I was gonna go over like trade suggestions, but I'm not here to manage your team. I'm here to talk some shit. So let's dive into it. Number one, talked about it. Whitney, easily Whitney. This team is crazy good. Like I'll dive a little bit into it, but I got Whitney number one. It's pretty obvious. I'll dive into it a little bit, but I don't think anyone can argue this is the best looking team here. So my comparison is the Eagles. Eagles are very smart, rostered, a lot of depth in that roster stack. They've got one of the better quarterbacks. They've got one of the best duos in wide receivers, arguably the best running back in the league. Like the team's just really good. There's just no way to really argue. Like I don't know. Number one, Chiefs, or I'm sorry, number one, Whitney, Eagles, easy comparison. Number two, it's me, and I'm going to compare myself to the Chiefs. I still gotta change my name. With Bye, my team looks a little weird with, but I've got all the pieces. I feel like I've got a championship looking team. I've got a solid squad, and I wouldn't compare myself to like this year's Chiefs. I'd compare myself to like I don't know. I feel like I've got all the pieces here. I've got some up and comers. Judkins, super happy with how he's looking. Etienne's been solid. He didn't have the best game, but I don't really need him. And I feel like I've got some up and coming running backs that I'm pretty excited about. So I feel like I've got depth. I've got a good wide receiver stack. I've got a couple solid quarterbacks. Again, I think Trey McBride is the number one tight end. I don't think he's been being utilized like it, but so I'm gonna compare myself to the Chiefs. Chiefs went back to back, and that's what I'm going for. So that's my reasoning. Number three, Paul. I got Paul at number three, and I think I made this comparison too many times, but it's just so fitting. Like, this is a well-constructed team. This is a team that has high offense. Doesn't matter who's. It seems like it doesn't matter who he's got plugged in. They're going to be going off. Egbuka's like this wide receiver, the wide receiver whisperer right here. Paul. We've got Marvin Harrison, JSN, Zay Flowers, who's been pretty solid. I'm still not the biggest believer, but it's solid. And then Egbuka, who's been absolutely going off. And this team is a championship team, I think, potentially like the 49ers until Christian McCaffrey goes out, until something happens to him. And I think this offense runs through Christian McCaffrey. 49ers offense runs through Christian McCaffrey. It's a championship looking team. And I think 49ers have a good depth. Um, with this team, I think Brock Purdy's been on your team. Oh, yeah, he is on your team. I mean, oh, dang. And I forgot. Yeah, you still have CeeDee Lamb. Like, this is a solid squad, but it could easily go. And I kind of mentioned I was going to go over like trade suggestions. I keep saying it, like trade away one of your wide receivers. You don't need 4 solid wide receivers, especially when you're kind of down on running back. Yeah, Rico Dowdle looks really good, but is that going to be something consistent, or is that like, are you chasing points? I don't know. Hard to tell. But this is just a championship looking team. So I'd say 49ers here. That's my comparison to you. And then honestly, from here, like I think top 3: Whitney, myself, Paul. Whitney's clear one. Whitney's in like a tier of her own. But then Whitney, Paul, myself, I think we're in like a tier of our own up here so far. Things always change. Things can always happen. But I feel like we're in like that tier of like, we are going to be competing for that bye week, us 3. And then from a tier break, I'm going to say, boom, we're hitting number 4. We're looking at Nate's team. And this is where I'm going to, like, it's hard to bash some of these really good teams because it's like, what am I going to bash? This is where I'm saying, like, there's a tier break. I feel like now I can start kind of bashing a little bit. Nate, my comparison for you are the Lions. Now, this is a solid looking roster, but it kind of seems like when it comes to the big moments, kind of choke. When you go against, like, the Lions have been good, but they kind of choking. In week 1, it was a big game. They choked. And yeah, you went against Paul, who absolutely like put up huge numbers. But a loss is a loss. Like, there is a solid squad, like 162. Like, when I was looking through, I'm like, all right, he put up 160. Well, who else puts up those kind of like big numbers? The Lions. And so I really think that this is a solid squad. But you've got a quarterback that's kind of meh, Jared Goff. You've got wide receiver Ted McMillan. He's like an Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think he's going to be a reliable, really good guy to have on your team. But then behind that, you've got some questionable wide receivers that are not going to be like consistent every single week. And then your running back room, best duo in the league, I would say. And best duo in the league for NFL, the Lions. You've got George Kittle on the IR right now. But you got Dalton Kincaid, who's been really solid. I think he's been a top 5 tight end for the year so far, at least in PPR. I don't know about half PPR, but it's a solid squad, but there are a few question marks. And possibly, like, Nate, I'm sorry, you get to the playoffs and then you choke. You've had a really good squad, like the Lions. You get to the playoffs and you choke. So we'll see. I think another reason why you are like the Lions is this is a solid squad, but there are question marks, and it's kind of like, can you play up to what your team is? So we'll see. Coming in at number 5, we got chasing championships. Now, okay, I'll be honest. Last week I was looking, I was like, damn, this team is not looking good. This is a rough looking team. But another injury, Braylon Allen. Yes, he's not like the most fantasy relevant, but boom, that's a bump up for Breece Hall. And beyond that, there's some solid pieces here. I think you're really hoping that there's no more injuries. Jamar Chase has kind of been brought down. My comparison for you are the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay Packers have a good team. They've got a lot of like good, really good wide receivers that have not like really produced and kind of separated themselves to be like complete alpha. Yes, you have an alpha in Chase, but he doesn't have a good quarterback to throw him the ball, so he's not an alpha anymore in fantasy. You've got good depth. You've got good name value wide receivers, just like the Packers. They're just not producing. And you've got a really good, solid running back in Brees Hall, just like Josh Jacobs, but he's not like an explosive back. You've also, just like Green Bay, it's almost like you play to your opponent's ability, and you've had a couple close calls. Now, I was looking through, and there's a real possibility. Okay, Green Bay has lost, I believe, 2 games where like they were lost by 2 game-winning field goals. If you look at Austin's up in the top right corner here, okay, he won pretty handedly this last week. Kind of got spanked by Whitney, but it's the best team. Boom, here. Just like Green Bay lost to the Cleveland Browns, like this is a low scoring, like this is the Brown Bowl here. You've got Austin losing by 3 points, or 3.4. That's like 1 field goal and a catch. That's it. And boom, you're 3-2. But then if you look at week 1, I barely beat Austin by just over a point. Now there's a real possibility Austin is going into week 6, 4-1, and we're kind of looking at this team a little bit different. Like, okay, it's got depth and it's producing, but that's not the reality. And so I think now we're going to look at the team a little bit different. Is that fair? Probably not, but that's the reality. So there's been a lot of close calls, just like I think Green Bay. It's a solid squad, but there's just like performance issues, I guess. So that's why I got your comparison for Green Bay. Ooh, I gotta plug this in. Here, I'm gonna pause the video real quick. I gotta plug my. All right, technical difficulties. Boom, jumping back in. We're looking at number 6, Eric. We've got Eric at number 6. Now, this would be much different if Neighbors was not injured. But that's your number 1 pick. You lose your number 1 pick, it's not over, but it's a really tough ride to that playoff and then possibly the championship. And he picked up a good few pieces with Rachaad White, but that's not gonna hold. And you really don't have that solid number 2. Like DK was a solid number 2, but he's not a solid number 1. There's concerns. Like for me, there are concerns on this team. So my comparison for you is gonna be the Chargers. And the reason why, you started off hot. Chargers look good. They got the win against the Chiefs. I compared myself to. I'm kind of connecting this here. I compared myself to the Chiefs. You get the Chargers started the year beating the Chiefs. Eric beat me week 2. Solid win. Started off 3-0, and just over the last couple of weeks has kind of been struggling. And yeah, you put up good numbers, but a loss is a loss. And now this is 2 losses in a row from Dre the Bully and Whitney. And I feel like you're just holding on to that 3-0 start. And now it's like, you're looking around, just like the Chargers. They're kind of banged up. They're looking around. They've got no running back room. Quarterback hasn't been producing. They're kind of looking around like who's going to be stepping up. And I feel like that's this team. This team's looking around. Who's going to step up? There's a lot of question marks. I think I could look at every single one of your players on your starting lineup and your bench and there's question mark. Eric, you started off strong. Bold prediction off the top of my head, Eric misses playoffs. I think one injury and you're 1 week happened, and now it's just you could be like Eddie last year. I feel like this team could be like Eddie's last year, where you start off hot, you go what was he 3-1, and then just go on a 10-game losing streak. So I put you at 6. But I mean, there are question marks, but there's also solid pieces, and you just put up over 120. So there are pieces. Team can produce, but will Justin Fields lose his job? He's 0-5. I don't think it's his fault, but we'll see. Next up at number 7. And now remember, top 6 make playoffs. Now, this is my weekly power rankings. If I'm looking towards the end of the year, I might, like for the full year, I might change this up a little bit. And a good example is Dre the Bully, who I have at number 7. Now, I don't like to trash talk the team that I'm going against, but I'm going to. Who are you? Oh, yeah, what do you do? You got to change this to Dre the Bully. All right. Comparison. I got you as the Vikings. The Vikings are 3-2. Your team is 3-2. Your total points is 470. Vikings, that team, there is an offensive concern in my head with their starting quarterback, even their backup. There is an offensive concern there, and I feel like they've won based off of their defense more so than their offense. And I feel like you've won more based off of the team that you're going against versus your team actually producing. Derrick Henry, huge disappointment this year. Look, he's only got 1 game over 11 points. 1 game over his projection. Other than that, he's barely cracking 10. That is huge concern. So your number 1 guy is huge concern. Ladd, huge concern. Yeah, he produced a little bit, but that was based off a touchdown. You take that touchdown away, he's around 7 points. Or he's 6, actually 6.4. Your only highlight, like I'm going against you this year or this week, and the one concern I've got is Tyler Warren. But at the same time, I've got Trey McBride. Yeah, you've got some injuries here. Bucky and now Hampton, which those are some big concerns. Maybe Bucky. Who was your first? I think it was Derrick Henry. Bucky was your second. And Courtland Sutton's been kind of underwhelming. There's nothing that's. Oh, he's been better than I thought. Oh shit, he's been better than I thought. But still, I don't know. If Courtland Sutton's on my team, I'm not getting too excited about it. So Vikings have been, in my opinion, very underwhelming in offense. I feel like this is an underwhelming looking team with Bucky on the questionable and with Omari and Hampton now on the IR. This is kind of a team that you look at and you're kind of like, I don't know. So that's why I got you at Vikings. Vikings, they've got the pieces. I feel like they've got the names, just like you've got the names, but their offense has been very underwhelming, especially with their starting quarterback. So for me, the concern here, for you, not for me. But we'll see. We'll see this week. We'll see. We'll see if the bully can pull out a win. Number 8, I've got Eddie. Eddie, I was looking. I really feel like I've kind of nailed. I feel like I've nailed this comparison. I'm going to compare you to the Bears. Now the Bears have all the weapons. They've got all the names. They've got Caleb Williams. He's the generational talent. They've got DJ Moore, Odunze. They've got the savvy veteran. They've got the up and coming guy. They've got. I mean, I don't think that their running back room is too exciting, but they've got a really good looking. They've got all the names. They've got a really solid looking squad. They've got that offensive coordinator or the head coach Ben Johnson. Like they've got all the names. They just haven't produced very well compared to what their hype is. And I feel like that's this team. AJ Brown's been underwhelming. Devontae Adams he's been spotty, I would say. Josh Allen, that guy is a generational talent. But this team's been very underwhelming if you look at the names. Like Cam Scadaboo, he's good. If I'm looking at if someone gave me this team, I'm excited about it. But it just hasn't produced 2-3. I think you had a solid win this last week. And I look at this team and I think, man, this team could be really good. Yeah, 89, 103. No, that was pretty solid for week 1. I don't know. I look at this team, it could be really good if everything gets put together. But AJ Brown has not been getting fed the ball. Results have not been. This team has not been producing. It's a solid looking team, but it's just not producing. It's got all the names, you've got all the pieces. Your guys just need to go out there and start producing, but they haven't been. So that's why I got you at the Bears. Now I talked about a tier break. Now this is where I feel like there's another tier break. I feel like from Nate, Austin, Eric, Dre, Eddie, any one of those teams can make the playoffs, and it would be no shock. It would be no surprise. I feel like it's going to be a race to the playoffs for those teams. That's what those teams are shooting for. They're shooting for the playoffs. I mean, obviously everyone's shooting for the championship. Everyone's shooting for the top 2 positions to get that first round bye. But I don't see those teams like breaking through the top 3, the first tier, in my opinion. Those teams to get that first round bye. First round bye. But all right, tier break from there. Shooting at number 9, we got Jason. Jason, welcome. Finally got his first win of the league. Welcome in. You are that one. Now, my comparison for you, I feel like this is a very fitting one too. Jason comparison at number 9 is the Raiders. And the reason why I say the Raiders, Bijan Robinson, number 1 guy, far and wide. You've got another good piece in Devon Achane, just like the Raiders. The Raiders have their number 1, in my opinion, number 1 offensive weapon, Ashton Jeanty. Now that'd be a little bit different if Brock Bowers was not injured, but number 1, Ashton Jeanty, just like Bijan Robinson on your team. Number 2, Brock Bowers, just like Devon Achane. You got the 2 pieces. Besides that, you've got some decent other guys, but everyone else is kind of underwhelming. And your team's done shit. Sorry, Jason. I hate to just be blunt, but calling a spade here. Your team's done shit. You are 1-4, and there is a reason for that because your team's done shit. So, I mean, it's not over. It is definitely not over. Stephon Diggs has been looking good. Quentin Johnson has been producing. I don't know why you still have Wan'Dale Robinson in there. T. Higgins could kind of turn around with Joe Flacco. Darren Waller's kind of just come out of absolutely nowhere, literally retirement, and is now doing good. Like there are pieces here, just like there's pieces on the Raiders. But for this year, just like the Raiders, I think you're missing the playoffs. And then rounding out our field, number 10, it's the tapeworm, BJ. My comparison for you, and it's fitting. I mean, I forgot that you had Chris Olave, the Saints. Now I think we were going out of the draft. We're looking at this team, and we're like, this team's gonna be last. And I think you look at the Saints, you look at their roster, rookie head coach, what's his name, Spencer Rattler as your quarterback, and you're like, that team is going to be last place. you don't have anybody on your team that's like really scary. Patrick Mahomes has been solid, but quarterbacks, the difference between 10 and 1 is not really that big of a difference, enough to make yourself like enough to separate your team from others. Um, Josh Jacobs is a solid piece, but this team's very underwhelming. Now we'll see if when Rashee Rice gets back. But the reason why I have you as a Saints is because when I'm looking at this team out of the draft, I'm like, this team could go 0-14, just like the Saints. But you've been surprisingly competitive. The Saints just got to win. Shocker. I feel like both times you've won, it's been a shocker. So, BJ, I got you at the Saints. You're 2-3. You're in it. I think you're out, but technically you're in it. Those are my power rankings. Those are my comparisons. I've kind of talked about playoffs, and I've talked about this in the past. Now, when like I said, there are teams that are shooting for that first round bye. I think everyone's shooting for the first round bye, but realistically, I think there's 3 teams that are shooting for the first round bye. Everybody else looking to just make the playoffs. You make the playoffs, that's when you want your team to go hot and make that championship run. I was kind of looking at like playoff percentages. I think I went over this last year. I just found a website. I don't know the math or the accuracy of these chances, but if your team is 4-1, like myself, you have a 75% chance of making playoffs. Now, I could miss playoffs. It's a realistic possibility, but I think how my team is going, the magic number, said this before, 8. You win 8 games, you're almost guaranteed, unless like some crazy matchups are happening. And I think how this team or how this league is being like how the wins and losses are being distributed, I think 8 is your magic number. 8, you're a shoo-in. So for me, I only need to win 4 more to make playoffs. 4 more in 9 weeks. If I win 4 of 9, I feel like that's a realistic possibility. So knock on wood, I feel like I'm shooting for playoffs. Now I'm just shooting for that first round bye, then run into the championship. If your team is 3-2, you have a 50% chance. So that is Whitney and Paul, Sloppy Poppy, Dre the Bully. You have a 50% chance to make playoffs. If you're 2-3, that gets cut in half, 25% chance. Like I said, we're spread out across the board. We have one team that's 4-1 and one team that's 1-4. And the 1-4, you have Jason, you have an 8.9%. You have a 9% chance to make playoffs. So you're still in it. It just looks kind of bleak. 8 is the magic number. So for now on the opposite side, yeah, Jason needs to win 9 of no. He needs to win 7 of the next 9. So you kind of, oh my, you can afford 2 more losses, maybe 3. 7-7, you can make the playoffs. It's a decent chance, but you have to have high points. So, Jason, at most you can lose 3 more. After 3 more losses, you get out. Now, coming up this next week, week 6 matchups, there is a possibility. Now, I kind of like to watch, like, if I'm looking at these matchups and I'm like, okay, I want to separate myself. So I want the second team to be 3-3. That would be my ideal record for whoever's in second place. And I was looking, there is a possibility that we could have 7 teams be 3-3. Dre the Bully, if he loses, either Austin or Nate wins. One of those teams is going to be 3-3. If now this is where it kind of gets, I don't think this will happen, but BJ pulls out a miracle and wins 3-3 for BJ, 3-3 for Paul. That's 4. And and then let's say another miracle happens and Jason beats Whitney, that's Whitney's 3-3. And then if Eddie pulls out the victory on Eric, those are both teams that are 3-3. So we could have 7 teams 3-3, which is wild, which I always think is fun because then it's like almost everybody is in at that. Yeah, almost. Yeah, everybody would pretty much be in it and have a real possibility to make playoffs. So we'll see how things happen. I don't think we'll have 7 3-3s, but you never know. It's a possibility, kind of fun to flirt with. Now, I talked about how we were going to highlight a team every week. This week, we're highlighting Whitney's. Look at this team here. I'm going to check time really quick. 35. Son of a... See, I got to work on not rambling on as much, but I won't be too long on this. There's a few things I want to go over. And Eric, I hope you're still watching because I'm about to go over something that we kind of flirted with before the league, and I think this is important. Now, if you look at Whitney's team, I've said it. This team is absolutely crazy. I'm sure she'll throw Roma Dunze in place of Debo. I would hope. We'll see. But if you look at this team, she's got Hunter Henry. He's been amazing. You've got, just look at this team is very well built. So I was like, all right, let's see how good this team is. So she's got Jalen Hurts. That's a top 5 quarterback so far. She's got the number 1 and number 2 wide receiver. That's crazy. Oh, and then she's also has Roma Dunze, who he's a top 10, and he's played 1 less game than everybody else, and he's still in the top 10. That's crazy. So he's got 1, 2, and then a top 10 who's 1 game less than everybody else. I'm pretty sure Roma Dunze was number 2 last week, or definitely top 5. Running backs. She's got James Cook, who's number 4. So she's got a top 5 quarterback, wide receiver, running back. Her other running backs top 10, and then tight end Hunter Henry top 5. And then she also has Sam Laporta. She literally has every position where she's got someone in the top 5 and then her like backups in the top 10. I feel like you could split Whitney's team and you could build 2 really solid squads. It's absolutely crazy. This is where I'm talking about, like, we are playing for second place right now. Unless something crazy happens to our team, we are all playing for second place in the standings. Now, anything can happen once you hit playoffs. She could have a bad week and then she's out. But in my opinion, we're all playing for second place. We're second place in standings for the regular season. And then the other crazy thing is she's 3-2. She should be 5-0. And this is where we're talking about. And the crazy part is she only won by less than 2 points this last week. Now, Ramondre Stevenson, this guy has fumbled the ball, I think, 5 times this year. Going into the game, he knows he needs to secure the ball. He was the one that fumbled. You take that fumble away, Whitney is 2-3. She is 2-3 if that fumble does not happen, because she's played the Buffalo defense. They recovered that fumble. Let me say that again. The person that's absolutely destroying in points, 655 points, in second place is 583 after they put up 160. She could sit all of her players, and I bet most of us would not even sniff where her points are at. That's crazy. She could be 2-3. She could be in 6. No, she'd be in 5th place. But she could be in 5th place because because she's just had the roughest schedule, I would say. I think last year when Whitney like kept kind of winning because she had an easy schedule, like who she went against just did not put up points. It's complete opposite. And this is what we were talking about on why we should make this number 6 spot should be based off of points. Now, if she's 2-3, let's say she keeps on just getting the worst matchups. Let's see here. Here, I'm going to go back and look. Okay, she got destroyed there. Got destroyed. Let's say she's 2-3, or let's say she keeps on getting these rough matchups. Say the fumble happens, she's 2-3. This next week now, Jason pulls out a miracle and Bijan goes off for 50 points and her team puts up good points, but just not enough. Now she would be 2-4. Now, all I'm saying is there's a universe where this team, if it just has a rough schedule every week, could miss playoffs. And that's what we're talking about, as we want the best teams to be in the playoffs. It would not be fair if you looked at this team and it missed playoffs. I'm going to say it now. This is the best team I've seen assembled in this league's history so far. Knock on wood. Like, so far, there's so much left to play still. But if you look at this team, so far, best team I've seen assembled. Like, there's depth. All of her starters are top 5/top 10, worst case scenario. I didn't even throw in Debo, and he's been doing absolutely crazy. Jalen Warren had a couple crazy. Like, there's full depth. All of her. This is where we're talking about, Eric. Where if this team missed the playoffs, it would be a disservice to this whole league. So I hope we kind of reconsider this next year. That rule for this 6th place. We'll see how this year goes. We'll see how it goes, but I think we should reapproach that this next year. And Eric should quit being a crybaby and threatening to leave the league because of that. But best team, I would say, hands down. I have no problem saying that best team I've seen assembled in a very, very long time. I would say maybe even ever. So hats off to you, Whitney. Hopefully your luck kind of changes a little bit. But thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to end it there before I get too far in. We're 42 minutes. Son of a gun. That's all right. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll start doing these a little bit more, and I'll try to keep it under that 20-minute mark. I'll work on that. Thanks for watching, guys. Good luck to everybody except for Dre the Bully. Adios.